Shattered Padme's battlefield's light edge drips with time, fractures time, Morihaus's blood, fractures around him. A crimson storm churns in the distance, splitting the sky with jagged fissures that bleed light. Tamriel's his sacrifice prison resets the war, love into a dam against their flood snare, invasion drips with time. Each cycle his sacrifice resets the war, a dam against their flood. Padme's light, not malice, fractures time. The crimson storm, a doomsday engine fueled by his torment. He thought he sealed the gates, he became the gate, a hero's love, the ultimate fail-safe, eternal, unyielding. The war is not his failure, it is his atonement, engineered before his first breath. He loved a nameless star, a being of celestial fire, woven from the same threads as the heart. Their union was not passion, it was a mechanism. The Daedra patient carved a trap into time. When Pelinal in ignorance struck her down, thinking her an Enemyth loop began, a cycle of war and ruin, each death a reset. Each war a recalibration, the towers tremble, the heart screams, and still he returns, not to redeem, to atone. For the Aedra lie or the Daedra's design, the balance is an illusion. The towers do not hold back chaos, they feed it. Every hero's blade, every king's crown, every tear shed in his name, these are the gears. The fail-safe, Tamriel is not a realm. It is a clockwork dirge, and Pelinal's love highs levies the key that will never turn. Pelinal walked the dead god's paths, Alesha's blade split the chains, Mantling's fire turned rebels into titans, the Aedra had burned themselves to light the Mundus. The Daedra, cold and whole, watched from their shadowed thrones. Pelinal's hands dripped with both legacies. Did he choose the walking way, or did the way choose him? He crowned himself with the blood of 1,000 dead deities. Each mantling forged a god-killer, each god-killer birthed a war, the Aedra's sacrifice was a seed. The Daedra's refusal was the blade that split it. Pelinal stood between, his love for Alesha was a compass, his guilt for her death was the storm. She fell in the first loop, a mistake, a kiss mistaken for a blade, her death became the anchor. Pelinal could not unmake it. The Daedra whispered, *rewrite. Try again, gave him the Pelinal's loops, they gave him the hunger. Save her, he Mundus needed wars, fresh blood to fuel Mantling's fire, fresh gods to burn the cycle anew. The tribunal saw the pattern, the dragon priests felt the gears. Pelinal's redemption was a prison, each loop a tighter chain. The Daedra did not need to conquer Mundus. They had tricked a hero into building the cage. His love was the key, his guilt the lock, he walked still, Alesha's ghost in every new age. The walking way is a snare, the Aedra's sacrifice a lie wrapped in truth, the Daedra's patience a harvest Pelinal's crown is not of light, it is of endless dusk. And Tamriel, the clockwork dirge, ticks on. The dagger quivers in his grip, Morihaus' breath falters, Pelinal's vision clears, the Mantling's fever breaks too late, blood blooms on his tunic, a crimson sigil. A whisper, *, you were never the enemy. *, the time loop's gears grind, dawn fractures, Pelinal kneels, hands buried in soil, waiting for the sun to rot. Each cycle he finds Morihaus' body where it should not be. Each cycle the dagger's hilt bears his fingerprints. Each cycle the Daedra watch, patient. What is a god but a child who mistakes a wound for a wound? Pelinal offers himself at the temple of the divines. The priests chant, the sky weeps ash, nothing changes. Morihaus' face haunts the shadows, a phantom limb. Pelinal learns, sacrifice without end is not piety. It is a lock, the Daedra did not need to corrupt him. They needed him to love *. A mortal's heart is a better trap than any Oblivion gate. Pelinal's crusade was never against Daedra. It was a leash, taut and coiled. Every war, every heresy, every blight he purges Tamriel blades. The clockwork dirge swells, the loops stack. The world forgets it is a stage, he tries to break the pattern. He becomes the villain, he becomes the martyr. The dagger always returns to his hand. Morihaus' blood is a brand, not a memory. The Daedra do not punish Pelinal, they use him. A doomsday device needs no evil, only a spark, only a man who cannot stop loving what he has already destroyed. The loops tighten, Tamriel's wars are his confession. The dusk never ends, Pelinal's crown is not of light, it is of ash. And the Daedra, the silent architects, smile in the dark. Pelinal walked the dead god's paths, Alesha's blade split the chains, Mantling's fire turned rebels into titans, the Aedra burned themselves to light Mundus. The Daedra, cold and whole, watched from their shadowed thrones, Pelinal's hands dripped with both legacies. Did he choose the walking way, or did the way choose him? Pelinal's crusade, once a hymn, became a dirge. The Arabist dreams, the towers hold it together. Each scroll read binds a soul to its script, a recursion of war, a recursion of grief. The chimer fled their ashes, not their sins. Dunmer blood stained the red year's sand. Rurken's wake swallowed a legion whole. Padame's tide did not kill, it erased. A lover's face misread in the firelight, Pelinal's blade did not choose. The Arabist did. Malakath's design was not malice, it was arithmetic. A god's anchor requires weight. Pelinal's love, his loop, his endless return, each death fed the towers. Each war rebuilt the chains. The Daedra did not trap him. He became their keystone. The cost was not hidden. It was buried in every heartbeat, a realm forged in sacrifice, a people born from a mistake. The towers stand because they must. The scrolls rewrite because they must. Even now, some name the Dawn Star as deliverance. They do not see the loop, they are inside it. The Arabist is a dream. Dreams require sleepers. Pelinal's crusade was never redemption. It was the sleep, the silence, the price. How many more must die before the towers crumble? How many more must love and lose and return? The dusk never ends. It only deepens. The walking way hums. Pelinal's flesh cracks into obsidian veins, each fissure a thread in the Arabist loom. His blood no longer flows, it cascades in staircases, pooling into step pools where pilgrims drown in the weight of his memory. Padame's voice lingers in his throat, a hymn half sung, her name now a password to the tower's locked doors. Was this the price of a second chance? To become the wound that never clots, the Aedra's sacrifice was never about salvation, it was a firewall. Pelinal's paradox is the firewall's core, a god forged from error, his heart a gyre of what if, and never again. The Daedra gnaw at his ankles, but he does not feel them. He cannot feel. His eyes, once human, now hold the static of 1,000 unspoken prayers. Every step he takes rewinds the war that killed her. Every breath replays the sword thrust that split her ribs. The walking way is not a path, it is the collision of all paths, a ambiguous strip of cause and consequence. Padame's body, when he finds her again, is not a body. It is a keyhole. Her hair spills like molten silver, pooling into a script that rewrites the laws of her return. She smiles, but her mouth is a void. He kisses her and the Arabist shudders. This is the trap, love as a recursive function, a loop that forces the Daedra to feed on their own hunger. Tamriel's wars are not accidental, they are the byproduct of his obsession. Every battle, every betrayal, every crown lifted in triumph is a cog in the machine he became. The towers stand because they must. The Arabist survives not through truth, but through the myth of survival. Pelinal's sacrifice is the myth's engine. He is neither hero nor villain, only the echo of a question the Aedra could not answer. Asterisk, what becomes of a god who refuses to forget? Asterisk, the dusk deepens, the walking way glows. And Pelinal walks and walks and walks, forever the first step, forever the last. Pelinal walks, the walking way glows, a loop forged in lies, not salvation. The redemption letter was no plea, it was a key that turned no lock. The Daedra's trap, a warlord's grief, a lover's blood, a god's prison. He is the hinge. The red mountain breathes. Lorkhan's heart beats in its magma, guarded by Pelinal's shadow. He is both warden and ward, his steps etching chaos into the abyss. Every cycle replays the massacre. Every dawn rekindles the crusade. The Daedra do not rule, they wait. Their puppet sustains their world, a realm where war is worship, where empires rise on the bones of his failure. Is this martyrdom, or the ultimate mockery? Pelinal's name fades. His pain endures, the walking way has no end. Only a question, when does a sacrifice become a chain? Pelinal walks a path the Aedra could not tread. They burned themselves out saving Tamriel. The Daedra burned their hearts to avoid burning out. He is neitherly a wound that never clots. The towers stand because his body is their foundation. His mind is their clockwork. Every cycle resets the war. Every reset rekindles the love he shattered. The Daedra did not craft this trap out of malice. They crafted it out of necessity, a world balanced on a god's regret. Padame's death was no accident. It was the key. A soul severed, a loop sealed. The Arabist breathes because Pelinal suffocates. The heart of Lorkhan may have died, but its pulse lives in his shackles. How many ages has he relived the strike that cleaved his beloved? How many ages before the towers crumble? The Aedra are dust, the Daedra are shadows. Pelinal is the scar between them. His sacrifice was never meant to save. It was meant to outlast, to bind. The eternal war is not a failure. It is the guarantee. A realm preserved by a god who forgot how to stop bleeding. What becomes of a martyr when his martyrdom is the wound? The towers do not weep. They do not remember. But Pelinal does, and in his endless walking, Tamriel endures. In the shadow of his endless march, Tamriel's wars replay like a broken hymn. Pelinal's blade, raised to slay a Daedric pawn, cleaved Padme's throat. The lover's blood became the lock, the key, the curse. His redemption was a paradox, a time loop forged by the Daedra to bind his grief into an engine of cycles. The song whispers truth wizard machine, warrior ghost high's identity, a labyrinth designed to trap mortals in the thorn throat of his sacrifice. Every crusade, every shattered piece is an echo in his gears. The towers forget. The land forgets, but Pelinal does not. His footsteps are the metronome of ruin. And as the song's final line hums, fading into the static between ages, possibly a wizard machine sent back from a ruined future, his identity is deliberately contradictory. What if Pelinal's loop was never a redemption, a Daedric snare? The Red Mountain, a tower caging Lorkhan's heart. Numidium's forge whispers of a spark that could shatter it. What breaks when the loop fractures? Not peace. The mountain's blood turns to war again. How long can Tamriel bleed before the heart stops beating? Next, the forge